Hello once again everybody and welcome back to my Jackie's Redive series, a secondary review series where I take another look at games I've already done a normal review on due to things like major patch updates, major DLC releases, remakes, remasters, or just covering things I forgot to mention in the initial review. On my last Redive, which was fucking 8 months ago, Jesus, I need to pick up the pace. We took a look at the stuff I forgot to cover in my initial reviews of Sonic 1, 2, and CD, and today we'll be doing the same for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. For my initial two-part review, I forgot to talk about the story, bosses, and music, so I'll be doing those in that order. So, enough talk, let's start with the story. Immediately after the events of Sonic 2, the Death Egg crashes down onto a mysterious floating island called Angel Island, causing it to fall down into the sea. On this island, Robotnik discovers the Master Emerald, the controller of the Chaos Emeralds. However, he also discovers the emerald is guarded by an echidna named Knuckles the Echidna. Robotnik tricks Knuckles into thinking Sonic and Tails are the bad guys, so he'll keep them out of his way while he works on fixing the Death Egg. Seeing where the Death Egg landed, I fucking wrote landed in the script. Okay, so seeing where the Death Egg landed, Sonic and Tails head to the island, with Sonic immediately transforming into Super Sonic. I guess he just wants to get this over and done with. But he's blindsided by Knuckles, who takes the Chaos Emeralds from him. So it's a journey throughout the island to reclaim the Chaos Emeralds, stop the Death Egg from relaunching, and maybe knock some sense into Knuckles. Upon making it to the Death Egg's launch site, the launch base, Sonic and Tails manage to stop the Death Egg from relaunching, which falls back onto the island, but this time on top of the volcano. Upon landing in Mushroom Hill, Sonic and Tails discover the hidden palace, which houses the Master Emerald Shrine. Using the power of the Master Emerald, the Chaos Emeralds are transformed into the Super Emeralds, which are even more powerful. Once making it to the volcano, the Death Egg ignites it, I think, but Sonic and Tails manage to escape to the hidden palace, which is right next to it. Yeah, great idea, ancient echidnas. Put the shrine holding the most powerful gem right next to a fucking volcano. Anyway, I already described the important plot points from this point forward in my initial review, so we're gonna move on to the bosses section. Unlike Sonic 1, 2, and CD, where each level had one boss at the end of the level, this time there's a boss at the end of each act. Angel Island Act 1's boss is Fire Breath, which halfway through the act burns the entire jungle. When playing as Sonic and Tails, it shoots fire out from its nose, and when playing as Knuckles, it does that and shoots bombs at him. Angel Island Act 2's boss is the Egg Scorcher Mark III, the successor to both the Mark I from Marble Zone in Sonic 1 and Mark II from Hilltop Zone in Sonic 2. It shoots fireballs out from its cannons 2 at a time if you're playing as Sonic and Tails, and 4 at a time if you're playing as Knuckles. Hydro City Act 1's boss is the Big Shaker, which flies around the arena for a little bit before stopping to cause a whirlpool. Also, oddly enough, when playing Sonic 3 by itself, it plays the Act 2 boss music here, but when playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it plays the Act 1 boss music. Hydro City Act 2's boss is the Egg Vortex. It has Robotnik dipping down to the water to suck up a whirlpool before dropping bombs that cause huge splashes. However, Egg Robo doesn't play it fair. He just sucks up the whirlpool from his current position, making it harder for Knuckles to hit him. Marble Garden Act 1's boss is the Tunnel Bot. It kinda just behaves exactly like Mystic Cave's boss from Sonic 2, drilling into the ceiling, causing debris and spikes to fall down, before coming down, allowing you to hit it. Also, when playing as Knuckles, it doesn't come down as far, so you have to use this spinning platform to hit it. Marble Garden Act 2's boss is the Egg Drillster Mark II, the successor to the Egg Drillster Mark I from Emerald Hill Zone in Sonic 2. However, this boss is actually completely different depending on who you're playing as. When playing as Sonic and Tails, Robotnik destroys the platform you're on, causing the two to chase after him in the air. Somehow here, Tails can fly infinitely, but nowhere else. When playing as Knuckles, Egg Robo uses the drills to tether his way through the arena. Also, for some reason, when playing as Knuckles, it plays the Act 1 boss theme. Carnival Night Act 1's boss is the Bowling Spin. That's its actual name. It spins a spiked top around the arena, which can destroy the platform you're standing on. However, if you cause the machine to extend its lower half, the top can damage it. Carnival Night Act 2's boss is the Egg Gravitron. Robotnik drops a magnetic ball down onto the ground and uses electricity to try and pull Sonic and Tails in. Pretty sure that's not how electricity works. Also, you may notice I said Sonic and Tails, and that's because Knuckles doesn't fight this boss. Once you reach the end of the level as him, you just destroy the capsule and move on. No boss fight at all. Ice Cap Act 1's boss is the Big Ice Disc. I hope to God that's how you pronounce it. It twirls some snowballs around kinda like the Egg Bouncer from Metropolis Zone, then shoots them out. That's it. Ice Cap Act 2's boss is the Egg Froster. Robotnik uses a platform at the bottom to shoot ice at Sonic and Tails, while Egg Robo will occasionally lift it up in an attempt to crush Knuckles. Once you hit the boss 6 times, the platform disappears. Launch Base Act 1's boss is the Twin Hammer. It has 2 spiked maces on either side that it swings around. After 3 hits, one of them disappears. Knuckles has to fight 2 of these things, so his boss lasts a little longer. Launch Base Act 2 has 3 bosses, 2 if you play as Knuckles. The first one, which you only fight as Sonic and Tails, is the Egg Cannon. Robotnik shoots cannonballs out that you have to dodge. That's it. The second one is the Egg Rocket. No, not that Egg Rocket! All in all, this one's pretty boring. Robotnik/Egg Robo just rises up and down to shoot you and has a little spiked ball circling around the top to ensure you don't just stay jumping on it all the time. Now, this is where things get weird. If you play Sonic 3 by itself, there's one more boss here. Big Arm. Big Arm serves as the final boss of Sonic 3 standalone. It's a pretty tough boss as well, as it's the only one capable of damaging Supersonic. Robotnik flies around with massive claws that can grab you. What's weird though is that when you play Sonic 3 and Knuckles as Sonic and/or Tails, this boss is completely absent. After defeating the Egg Rocket, you move on to Mushroom Hill. But it's still here when playing as Knuckles, however the sky doesn't go dark and it still plays the regular boss music instead of the final boss music. I kinda wish they kept Big Arm for Sonic and Tails though. It serves as a climactic mid-game fight that serves as a wake-up call to players. Robotnik ain't screwing around this time. You need to keep your guard up. Mushroom Hill Act 1's boss is Hey Ho. Probably a Golden Axe reference. This thing chops down the trees to try and hurt you. But again, it goes down in 6 hits. Mushroom Hill Act 2's boss is the Egg Scrambler. Throughout Mushroom Hill, the seasons are constantly changing due to a weather machine Robotnik built, and upon destroying it, this boss is revealed. He flies away while you have to jump over rows of spikes, and when playing as Knuckles, there can sometimes be 2 sets at one spot. Flying Battery Act 1's boss is Gapsule. It looks identical to the capsules you destroy at the end of each Act 2, but it's actually a robot. It has 2 spike balls for hands, and constantly hits itself trying to hit you. I think Robotnik's inventions are a reflection of his real intelligence. Flying Battery Act 2 has 2 bosses. The first one is the Laser Prison, which is literally just the boss of the same name from Wing Fortress in Sonic 2, only this time you can't destroy it, and it destroys the ship. Really? My god, Robotnik is stupid. He literally took a failed boss and made it worse. The second boss is the Egg Hanger. I'm not even gonna mention what that looks like, figure it out yourself. But what's weird about this boss is that Robotnik is the one piloting it, even if you're playing as Knuckles. Did the artist forget to make a front-facing Egg Robo sprite? This, combined with the fact that there are no Knuckles exclusive routes in this level, makes me think that Knuckles wasn't originally supposed to come here. Anyway, Robotnik swings around the platform while shooting out fire to prevent you from spin dashing on top of him. Sandopolis Act 1's boss is the Guardian. He's literally just called Guardian, I guess in reference to him being the guardian of this pyramid? Anyway, he slowly jumps towards you and you have to lead him to the sand, which will destroy him. Or you can go to the other side and hit him on the head, which actually takes longer to do. Yeah, this boss is boring. Fitting for a boring level. Sandopolis Act 2's boss is the Egg Golem. No, not that Egg Golem! This one is piloted by Robotnik/Egg Robo. It's supposed to march out towards you while shooting lasers, but if you're super or hyper, you can kill it pretty much instantly, even preventing the boss music from starting. Lava Reef Act 1's boss is Heat Arms. It shoots out pellets from its arms that each take 4 hits to destroy, and then comes up to attack you itself. Just don't spin dash unless you're super or hyper. Lava Reef Act 2's boss is the Egg Inferno. This is the only boss in the game to have a checkpoint in it. But it doesn't mean much as there's nothing to do. If you're super or hyper, it's just a waiting game as you can't attack him yourself and it takes 14 spike balls to destroy him. Also, this is another boss that only Sonic and Tails fight as Knuckles doesn't even have a capsule this time, he just heads right on to Hidden Palace. Hidden Palace's boss is Knuckles. Literally just Knuckles. He attacks you by gliding and spin dashing. And again, this is a boss only Sonic and Tails fight because it would be weird to fight Knuckles as Knuckles. Sky Sanctuary has 3 bosses if you play as Sonic and or Tails, but the first 2 are literally just the Egg Wrecker from Green Hill and the Egg Bouncer from Metropolis, but this time piloted by Mecha Sonic Mark II. Yeah, about that. I called this guy Silver Sonic in my Sonic 2 review and this guy Mecha Sonic in my Sonic 3 and Knuckles review, but apparently this one is Mecha Sonic and this one is Mecha Sonic Mark II. The third boss is a direct confrontation with Mecha Sonic Mark II, who bounces and spins around like Mark I. Also, when you defeat it, it doesn't explode. That's because Knuckles fights it as well. Since Knuckles' playthrough happens after Sonic and Tails, Mecha Sonic Mark II serves as the final boss for Knuckles. Its first phase is exactly the same as with Sonic and Tails, but then in its second phase, it uses the power of the Master Emerald to become Super Mecha Sonic Mark II, but its energy only lasts for a short time before needing to recharge itself. Death Egg Act 1's boss is Red Eye. It starts out by circling 8 balls around itself that explode and release spikes when it's damaged. Then for its second phase, it has 2 platforms with spikes at the bottom circling around it, and it will shoot a laser out of the bottom. And unlike every other Act 1 boss, which takes 6 hits to destroy, this one takes 16! Death Egg Act 2's boss is the Death Ball. It shoots out rolling spikes that you have to hit it with using the anti-gravity mechanics. Once it's destroyed, Robotnik flees to his newest invention, the Kyodai Eggman Robo. Basically a bigger version of the Death Egg robot from Sonic 2, this thing attacks with finger missiles and then uses the Master Emerald to power a laser as well as shooting flames from its nose. Once it's destroyed, Robotnik tries to make a getaway with the Master Emerald before being stopped by Sonic. And then we get the Doomsday Zone, which I already talked about in my original review. So now it's finally time to talk about the music. This game has what is, in my opinion, the best soundtrack of the entire Genesis library. I already mentioned how the game has unique songs for each act in my initial review, but there's so much more to talk about with the music. For starters, the Act 1 boss theme and Knuckles theme are different depending on if you play Sonic 3 by itself versus if you play Sonic and Knuckles or Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But then, this is where things get interesting. In 1997, Sega re-released Sonic 3 for the PC under the name Sonic & Knuckles Collection. It contained the standalone versions of Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles, as well as the combined version Sonic 3 and Knuckles. However, because PCs in the 90s couldn't replicate the Genesis sound chip, I guess, the music was in MIDI format. But some of the songs weren't just converted to MIDI, but outright changed. The Act 1 boss music from the standalone version of Sonic 3 is gone, replaced with the Sonic and Knuckles version, and Knuckles' theme in Sonic 3 standalone, the credits theme in Sonic 3 standalone, both acts of Carnival Night, both acts of Ice Cap, both acts of Launch Base, and the competition menu music were all completely changed. So, what's the deal? Well, it most likely has something to do with the fact that the samples those songs used for the drum channel likely wouldn't have translated well to MIDI format, but there's also another reason. You see, all of those songs were composed by Brad Buxer, keyboardist for the 80s band The Jetsons, in collaboration with Michael Jackson. Yes, the Michael Jackson, the king of pop himself. Now, Jackson himself wasn't credited, and there are two explanations for why. One, it was reported that Jackson was unhappy with the sound of the Genesis sound chip and didn't want to be credited. And the other reason is because of certain legal issues he was facing at the time. Anyway, the point is, despite being uncredited, it is undeniable that he had involvement with this soundtrack, as some of the voice clips in the previously mentioned songs are from his songs, and some of them just sound like Jackson songs. Like, for example, the credits music for Sonic 3 Standalone Jackson later used in his song Stranger in Moscow. I can't play it because of copyright reasons, but go look it up and you'll hear it for yourself. Now, one thing many people have noticed is that Sonic 3 and Knuckles stopped seeing re-releases after 2009. Only 2 collections after that year had 3 and Knuckles in them. Sonic Classic Collection for the DS, and Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection for the PS3 and Xbox 360. Hey guys, sorry that I'm being kind of quiet, but it is almost midnight right now. I just found out while editing this video that apparently Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection actually released in 2009, in February of that year to be exact, so yeah, I did not know that at the time of recording this audio or writing the script, but I recently just found out while editing, so just wanted to add this little bit in. Again, sorry for being quiet, it's almost midnight, but yeah, now back to the scripted segment. But both of those were in development in 2009. So, what happened in 2009 that could cause this? Yeah, I think you already know.
Michael Jackson has died.
Yeah. And this seems to be the main reason why the planned Sonic 3 remaster was canceled. The music was now owned by the Michael Jackson estate, who are very well known for being very stingy with Jackson's music, so Sega could have faced legal issues re-releasing Sonic 3. In fact, there's rumors that they were being sued due to Classic Collection and Ultimate Genesis Collection. I don't know how true that claim is, but it doesn't seem too far-fetched. But there's one issue with that. Remember how the music was changed for the 1997 PC release? They could have easily used those. Just convert them to a Genesis synthesizer and re-release Sonic 3 like that. In fact, there was a ROM hack called Sonic 3 Complete which did just that. One of the contributors to the project, Valley Bell, transcribed the MIDIs from the PC version to the Genesis sound chip, and they sounded pretty good. Of course, there would probably be some people who wouldn't buy it because it doesn't have the original songs or some shit like that. Well, in late 2019, a prototype of Sonic 3 dated November 3rd, 1993, a whole 3 months before Sonic 3 Standalone released, was released online. And to many people's surprise, the music in this version was the PC versions, only a little different. This was an incredible discovery. The 1997 PC versions were the original versions. Sega had no excuse not to re-release Sonic 3 now. Just touch up these songs and boom, easy money. Well, we'll get to that later. Overall, no matter if it's the final release version or the prototype version, Sonic 3's soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks in the whole series. Now, with that out of the way, it's time I get my Sonic Origins review done. Origins Plus was just announced yesterday as of the time I'm recording this audio, and I want to get my thoughts on the original game out before then. So, I'll see you next time with my review of Sonic Origins.